say you're triple plus awesome, because poetic license doesn't necessarily mean poetry. Poetic license doesn't necessarily mean poetry. It means being able to be creative in any way, shape, or form and fashion, which is why we love it when music is coming here or whatever. So I welcome it and thank you. And it's double plus cool. So thank you. For this next round, I thought I would read for you 3 poems from the other literary magazine I am the editor of. One that I believe that Lorna was first in. Oh, and our Zoom guest host, David, was also in Down in the Dirt magazine. I was released this...
I've never been in that.
It was only in CC&D. Okay. Okay, then I sit corrected, but I know that David was in Eclipsed in Dirt, so that one I know. But anyway, the one from Down in the Dirt is titled Brutal Architecture, which if you look at it in Amazon, it's Brutalist Architecture. So I just happened to, find some building from Checkpoint Charlie's for the cover. Checkpoint Charlie, no S at the end. So it seemed like an appropriate thing with an odd building to have on the title, and the big sign that says in, German and Russian and English what you can do, and you can't have arms when you're crossing these lines, and it says Checkpoint Charlie, and it's just crazy. But anyway, this is Brutal Architecture. It's the new issue of Down in the Dirt. These are old poems of mine that I crammed way in the back, and I don't think I can describe them to any other books, but I'm checking it out right now. Trying to check it out for people to see. If I happen to have performed them somewhere, I might try to show an image from them. But this one is not about our Zoom guest host, but it is a piece titled David. When I knew you weren't going anywhere in the morning, I get dressed, brew some flavored coffee, put it in a thermos, and bring it my book over to that cut on the corner of San Leroux Avenue. The coffee tastes good when that Florida air is just chilly enough to open your eyes. I sit there and I write, usually about you, and I wait. I know you're a late riser, but within a half hour you're there, mug in hand, empty, drawing book and pencil in the other, cigarettes in pocket. You look tired, but I'm awake. I used to fear for your life, when you were messed up with the gangs and the drugs. I'd sit up nights and wonder why you didn't call. I'd wonder if you were dead. I'd wonder if you were beaten up, bleeding on the subway, trying to hold your ribs in place. It hurt to care from 500 miles away for someone who doesn't care for himself. I'm glad that you straightened yourself out. Or I'm glad that you almost did. I remember being in your car, driving back from Tiger Tail Beach. My skin felt itchy from the air. My feet were sticking out of the window, pressed against the rearview mirror. I think you were holding my hand. This was after you told me that you wanted me to marry you. You never asked me to marry you, but then you told me that's what you wanted. I should have expected that only from you, but you always surprised me. I remember thinking that we could never get along for any reasonable length of time. You didn't want to leave Canada. I didn't want to leave the States. You wanted to backpack across Europe. I wanted to get a job, an apartment, have some security. Vacationing at the tip of this peninsula seemed to be the only way we would ever meet. But even though my skin itched from the salt and the sun in that car with you, I felt like we could go anywhere. I looked at that purse today, and I found that box of Swan Vesta's matches. You bought them at a tobacco shop in the mall in Naples. You asked me to hold them for you. I couldn't understand why you were bothered even to buy these Maxes when you could always just get matchbooks anywhere. But I must admit that you looked good when you lit one of them. The box was so big. No American would want a matchbox that big. You always struck the match to the box 3 times before it would light. And then you would make an art of lighting a match, and it would seem like a pleasure. I always liked the smell of sulfur. I'm glad you forgot that box in my purse. That was performed on the beach where a long time ago, and there's really awful looking video stills, and I'm sorry for the live feed, you guys, you're not able to see it, but it's not that great of a shot. And then I was in Gages Lake for a show north of Chicago toward the Wisconsin border in a show that was called Uncorrect, I think, so it's just a video still from me from doing that. But the next one, I like this one. It's about, I know a lot of Davids. None of these are about you. This is another David, and this is a poem called I Dreamt About You Last Night. And hopefully, David, since we were discussing this band, I start by singing a few lines. I dreamt about you last night, and I fell out of bed twice. You can pin and mount me like a butterfly. I dreamt about you last night. I called you on the phone, even though you passed away over 4 weeks ago now. I don't know why I called. I don't know what I was hoping for. But when you answered your phone, I said, Dave? You said, yes. And I asked, how are you? And you said, fine. And I asked, you're not dead? You said, no. But I just told somebody they passed away a month ago. Oh, you said, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And you sounded so relaxed, so peaceful. They say that in dreams is your chance to think about the things that are unresolved from your day. And I keep dreaming about you. Don't I dream about you enough? You're the one who left me. Why are you coming back at night when I let my defenses down, slipping in through my window and working your way into my dreams? I dreamt about you last night. We were sitting together, about to go out for the evening. You were wearing a black t-shirt and black jeans. We were running late and you were angry. I wanted to wear this, but I wanted to put our black on. I wanted to wear my black vest and my black jacket. You know, I always thought it was funny how much you cared about the clothes you wore. So I said, but Dave, you look fantastic in the jeans and the t-shirt. And you smiled at me. And you kissed me. I wish I could have told you more in life how good you looked. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm so sorry. I wish in life I could have told you the things you wanted to hear. I saw you today. You were in a black car and you were wearing your dark sunglasses. He could have been you if I closed my eyes and squinted more, just slightly. You pulled up in the lane next to me as I was driving to my sister's house. You were about to turn right, and I watched you look at the oncoming traffic, waiting for your chance to leave me again. Let me think it was you. Driving. Living. Let me think that you're just ignoring me. Then I can be angry with you. I dreamt about you last night. I was on a cruise ship and you were working as a waiter. You wore one of those short jackets for your uniform. It was sea blue. And every time I thought I saw you, you would turn away to go do your job. And all I ever caught were fleeting glimpses of you walking away. All I keep thinking is that my days are finally free of you, but they're not. I keep thinking of you, and it isn't enough. I still can't escape you at night. I dreamt about you last night. Thank you. I also did that one on the beach, and yeah, sorry. It's a common name, Dave, I'm sorry. This last one, I might have read places, but this is the last one I'm going to share with you. It's titled Freedom Just Past the Fence. After working for the Army for years on repairing jet engines, I ended up being stationed in Pennsylvania one summer, repairing air conditioners and refrigerators. I'd only do a little work and then I'd have nothing to do for a day or two. But the thing I remember is that at the time, Cubans were defecting to the United States by boat. They'd sailed to Florida, most of them dehydrated and all of them malnourished. The U.S. government didn't want them spreading diseases in our country, so when the Cubans would appear on the coast of Miami, the military would be waiting to make sure they were healthy. Well, all I know is that they got all these Cubans in these trucks that we called cattle cars with only a few benches and truckload them up to Pennsylvania, where I was. And the military gave them some shots to make sure they weren't dying. So these people, after escaping their country in a shoddy wooden boat, were taken by the U.S. military, herded into boxed-in trucks, and shipped up the country so they could be given shots and detained. These Cubans who came here wanting freedom now had to wait in a fenced-in area until they were tested and given food. And it was my job to make sure that their fridge and air conditioner was working. So I'd sit there for a day or two at a time, drinking cans of beer and looking out my window. I had this view of the razor wire fence, and all I remember was seeing all these Cubans leaning against the chain link fence, wondering if this is what it was like to be free, holding out the metal, looking out to where they were sure was freedom. Freedom just past the fence. And yeah, I did read that one on the beach in probably 2005 or something. And I'm sorry in the live feed, the green screen feed, you can't see it. But I also read this at, I wish Tom Woodruff was here at Community Poetry, which he did at Half Price Books, and this may have been a time when it was National Poetry Day and we were reading things for things around the world or around the planet, and had people around reading for National Poetry Day. So there was my shout for that. Again, I'm sorry, live feed, that I'm on a green screen and I can't show you guys. I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's not working, you guys. But thank you very much for the listening, you fellas, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And I will say that, of course, Zoom host, guest host, more than just a guest, and not just another David. I'm sorry I happen to read two things about Davids in this. It blows my mind. That wasn't my plan. You think John's a more common name, and that's my husband, so what are you going to do? Anyway, it is yours, and Trevor, will you have time to read, or do you need to read before? Are you able to stay? I should check to make sure that you're okay on time, Trevor, because you would be after David, and is that okay for you on time? If it is, he's muted, so if I think he's okay, and then...
Yeah, that's okay.
Then groovy cool, David, then you are up, my darling, and then Trevor will be following. And thank you again for the live feed, you guys, and I will be back shortly with more. And Dave, the stage is yours. Take it away.